News to see how slavery lives on in one of the world's poorest countries.
They're at work well before dawn in the western Terai, which isn't unusual anywhere in the agricultural world. The difference here is that none of these workers is paid a wage. There are hundreds of thousands of slaves and bonded laborers in Nepal today. In this region they're called Kamaya, and the slave system is based on tribal tradition. The Taru tribe have always worked as slaves for Nepali landowners.
My grandfather had kamayas and his father before him. You see, we have so much land, we can't till it all without them.
Seligram is tied to his landlord twice by tradition and by debt. 3 years ago, when he had cholera, he borrowed the equivalent of £30 to pay for medicine, and he's been bonded to his landlord ever since. His wife is part of the deal. Few landlords want to take on a single man. By employing a married man, he gets Seligram and his wife Lamahi and their children too. No one in the family escapes.
We have to work for him, or he'll cut back on the food, and then we'll all starve. Who would choose to be a Kamaya? I hate this life.
Seligram took me to meet his landlord, who was clearly drunk as he showed me around his estate and introduced me to his bonded laborers. Why doesn't he pay his workers money?
If you give them money, they spend it on alcohol. If you give them rice, at least they might give it to their children.
At the Ministry of Labour in the provincial capital, Nepalganj, they say they're trying to address the issue, but with so many problems in the country, it can't be a priority. But as we enter the 21st century, isn't it an embarrassment admitting to slavery?
It would cost a lot of money to free these people, and it's not only an embarrassment for Nepal, but for humanity as a whole. The donor countries help with other projects, they should help with this too.
But the donor countries argue that Nepal should put its own house in order before calling on outsiders for help. Bonded labour and slavery is not only traditional in Nepal, it's legal. There are no laws against it. The European Union, which gives generous aid donations to Nepal, will be urging the government to introduce legislation to bring the country more in line with current thinking on slavery. While the authorities argue over responsibility, local campaigners try to bring about change by offering night school to women and children after work. But teaching empowerment to an intimidated people will take time. Lamahi doesn't attend the lessons. Her landlord won't let her. And anyway, she and Seligram are too tired when they finish work after dark. With no way out of his predicament, Seligram is already resigned to passing his debt and his bondage onto his children. Sue Lloyd-Roberts, BBC News, Nepal.